somewhere inside your head, right now, there's supposed to be a you. The one reading this, making the decisions, running the show. Tonight, we're going to go looking for it. I'm going to walk you room by room through the control center inside your own skull, the most complex object in the known universe, and one you've somehow never looked around. And at the end, we'll open the door to the room where you are supposed to be sitting. What we find in that chair is going to be deeply strange. Let's go in. First room. The moment you step inside, you're standing in the command center, right behind your forehead. This is the prefrontal cortex, and it's the closest thing your brain has to a CEO. Every decision you make, every plan, every time you resist a second slice of cake or stop yourself from sending that text, that's this room, doing its job. It's the most recently evolved part of your brain and the last to fully mature, which is the actual reason teenagers make teenage decisions. This CEO doesn't finish training until your mid-20s. When people say, think before you act, this is the room they're begging you to use. It plans. It decides. It feels the most like you in charge. So maybe this is where you live. Hold that thought, because the CEO has a problem. There's another room down the hall that doesn't wait for permission, and it can seize control of the entire building in a fraction of a second. Deep in the center of your brain sits a tiny almond-shaped structure called the amygdala. This is the alarm room. Its entire job is threat detection, and it is fast, faster than conscious thought. When something lunges at you and you flinch before you even know what it is, that's the amygdala. It saw the danger, hit the alarm, and hijacked your body before the CEO upstairs had even read the report. That's why you can't logic your way out of a panic in real time. The alarm room fired first, and reason is always a step behind. Useful when it's a snake. Exhausting when it's an email. And notice, when the alarm fires, it overrides you completely. So the one in charge clearly isn't sitting in here either. Now let's go somewhere quieter. Down and to the side, there's a curved structure shaped like a seahorse, the hippocampus. This is the archive. Everything you remember, every moment you can replay, was filed here before being sent to long-term storage. And here's proof of how alive this room is. Scientists studied London taxi drivers, who memorize a brutal maze of 25,000 streets. Their hippocampus was measurably larger than other people's. You built a bigger archive by using it. Damage this one room, and you can lose the ability to form a single new memory, trapped forever in the present moment, meeting the same people again and again for the first time. So far, so organized. Command center, alarm, archive, and still, none of them are the you we came looking for. Each one runs without you, behind your back. Keep that in mind, because the deeper we go, the stranger the layout gets, and the next room breaks the map completely. You'd think the part that handles vision would be right behind your eyes, up front. It's the opposite. Your visual cortex, the cinema where everything you see is actually assembled, is at the very back of your head, about as far from your eyes as it's possible to get. Signals from your eyes travel all the way to the back wall to be turned into the picture you're experiencing right now. Which means, in a very real sense, you see out of the back of your head. Take a hit to the back of your skull, and people really do see stars. You just jostled the cinema. And now the room almost nobody gives credit to. Tucked underneath, at the back, is a dense little structure called the cerebellum. It looks small. But here's the shock. It holds more than half of all the neurons in your entire brain. More than half. This is the autopilot factory. Walking, typing, catching a ball. The 1,000 micro adjustments that let you bring a cup to your lips without thinking. All run from here. Every skill you've ever drilled until it became automatic lives in this room. It's the reason you can drive home and remember none of it. The autopilot had the wheel the whole time. There's one more thing to see before we go looking for you. Your brain isn't one blob. It's two halves, a left and a right. And they're joined by a thick bridge of 200 million nerve fibers called the corpus callosum. This bridge lets the two sides talk. In rare cases where it's been cut, something eerie happens. The two halves can start acting like two separate minds in one skull, each knowing things the other doesn't. Which raises a very uncomfortable question. If you can split a brain into two centers of awareness, how many were ever really in there? Which brings us to the whole reason we came in. We've toured the command center, the alarm, the archive, the cinema, the autopilot. So now, where are you? Where's the room with the little person sitting in the chair, watching the screens, pulling the levers, being the one who's actually in charge? Here's the thing that should stop you cold. There isn't one. You can search this entire brain, cell by cell, and you will never find the command chair. There's no single spot where you are sitting. No center where it all comes together and a self watches the show. The CEO room plans, the alarm fires, the archive stores, the cinema projects, but nowhere in all of it is there a watcher. And yet, right now, it absolutely feels like someone is home. Like there's a you, behind your eyes, experiencing all of this. How 3 pounds of tissue with no central self produces the overwhelming feeling that a self is in here. That is called the hard problem of consciousness. And I'll be honest with you, the way this channel always tries to be. Nobody has solved it. Not neuroscientists, not philosophers, not anyone. We have mapped these rooms in extraordinary detail. We can watch them light up in real time. And we still cannot explain how any of it adds up to the simple fact that it feels like something to be you. It might be the single biggest unanswered question in all of science. And it's sitting inside your head right now. One honest note before we close. These rooms aren't really separate boxes. Nothing in your brain works alone. Every one of these regions is firing together, constantly, in networks so tangled that the rooms are really more like a metaphor for a storm of cooperation. The command center is never truly in command by itself. It's a committee with no chairman that somehow, miraculously, produces a single you. So the next time someone taps their head and says, "It's all up here," they're more right than they know, and more wrong than anyone can yet explain. You are walking around inside the most sophisticated machine in the universe. It generates the entire experience of being alive, and the one thing it cannot show you is where you actually are. So tell me, which room surprised you the most? The autopilot with half your neurons? The cinema at the back of your head? Or the empty chair where you were supposed to be? Drop it in the comments. I read everyone. And if this made your brain itch in the best way, that's exactly what this channel is for. Subscribe and stick around, because there is nothing stranger and nothing more worth understanding than the mind you live inside every single day.